Lower School at the Briarwood School in Houston, Texas, and this is Briarwood Kids Ask, a show where kids get to ask real questions to experts and celebrities who have dyslexia or have ADHD or research autism or what have you. Various conditions that we have here at the Briarwood School and at the Tuttle School. Today's a special episode. Normally our kids get, 2 months to write questions or their parents help them edit them. Today we had to put a show together really quickly. So this is the first time that questions were asked where the kids didn't actually write them. We did our best to hold true for our special guest, Temple Grandin. Temple Grandin is an American scientist and industrial designer known for her work in animal behavior, autism, and stress reduction for slaughtering animals. Diagnosed with autism at a young age, she faced challenges in communication, but was nurtured in private schools that recognized her high IQ. Despite challenges in short-term memory, Grandin's extended visual circuitry allowed her to excel in designing humane livestock facilities. She authored several books such as Emergence Labeled Autistic and Thinking in Pictures, and other reports from my life and autism. Grandin's acute visualization skills also extended to making design decisions, as seen in her recommendation for safeguarding the Fukushima power station. Throughout her career, Grandin emphasized the importance of visualizing and understanding the sensory experiences of both animals and autistic individuals. Her contributions include promoting empathy and humane treatment, not only in animal science, but also in broader design considerations. In 2010, the actress Claire Danes played Temple Grandin in the film Temple Grandin. And, if you don't know, Temple Grandin, An Open Door is an upcoming documentary about her life and work. It is an incredible honor to have met Temple Grandin and had a chance to facilitate this interview. I hope you enjoy it.
What inspired you to create the squeeze machine, and how did it help you with your own nervous tension?
Well, first of all, I'm going to give some background. I didn't have any speech to age 4, so I was a severely autistic kid and a lot of anxiety. And I went out to my aunt's ranch and I watched them put cattle in the cattle squeeze chute, which is it's kind of a stall that squeezes them to hold them still for their vaccinations. And I noticed that some of the cattle kind of calmed down, so I went and tried it out. And then I built my own padded squeeze machine. So that's where that came from. And deep pressure can be very calming, and I used it to help calm myself down.
Why did you decide to focus on designing humane livestock facilities? Was there a specific moment or experience that led you to this career path?
Well, the first thing was going and visiting my aunt's ranch. This brings up a really important thing with how students go into careers. I got exposed to beef cattle in high school. I didn't come from a livestock background. Hadn't gone to my aunt's ranch in Arizona because I lived back east, probably would not have gone into the cattle industry. So I tell you, get out and experience lots of different things. You're going to find out what you might like to do. You also might try something and go, oh, I don't really like that. You need to find out what you don't like too.
Alrighty. How did your personal experience with autism influence your approach to understanding and helping with the anxiety of both autistic individuals and animals?
Well, one thing that helped me in my work with livestock is animals live in a sensory-based world. They do not have verbal language. So the first thing I looked at when I first started working with cattle is what they were seeing when they went through the chutes. And I noticed that maybe a chain hanging down or a reflection on some water would make the animal refuse to move. And if you remove those distractions, they would move through the facility. Little things that shouldn't be there, shiny piece of metal that jiggles, things like that would make the animal stop. Now, I didn't know at the time that a lot of other people think verbally. But since I was a total visual thinker, it was obvious to me to look at what the animals were seeing when they went through the chutes.
In your book, Calling All Minds, how to think and create like an inventor, what message do you hope to convey to younger readers, especially those who may be facing challenges like autism?
Well, I used to like to make things. And there's a bird kite that's in that book and a parachute that's in that book that I tinkered with and I tinkered with to get them to work. And I learned from my mistakes. and then I would make another one. A lot of kids today are too afraid to make mistakes, but I'd experiment with different designs of my bird kite until I got one that flew really well when I towed it behind my trike.
As a child with autism, what advice would you give to other kids who may be facing similar challenges?
Well, we've got to get bullying stopped. When I was in high school, I was called all kinds of names. It was just horrible. And you got to help the kids that are different. You need to work in your school to make sure you don't have bullying. No, that is something that was just horrible, and I was called all kinds of names.
How do you think your high IQ, nurtured by your parents and the private schools you attended, contributed to your ability to pursue a successful career in science and industrial design despite the challenges made by autism?
Well, my mother always encouraged my ability in art. And I used to just, when I was a little kid and I was like in second grade, I would just draw the same horse head over and over and over again. Mother said, well, let's draw the whole horse. Taking that thing I was interested in, expanding it, having me use different kinds of art media. I also built all kinds of things. If it could be made out of cardboard, I built it. So from a very young age, I was building things. And then those kind of things just kind of grow. I mean, kids today aren't building enough stuff. I hope you get wood shop in elementary school and metal shop in high school.
What would you think of that session? Wood shop.
Good job.
When I was you're sixth grade, I was taking wood shop when I was your age. And our very first project, and it's in Calling All Minds, was a violin plant stool. And you had to take a thin piece of pine about a quarter of an inch thick, take a coping saw, a little hand saw, and cut it out in the intricate shape of the violin. And the purpose of that project was to teach you how to use the coping saw. And I was your age when I did that project.
What do you enjoy most about teaching animal science at Colorado State University?
Well, I like it when my students go out and they get work on a ranch or some other place and they use what they learn in my class to handle animals a whole lot better. They have to design a facility, and we're finding now that we have some college students that haven't learned to measure things when they were your age. I think that's terrible. You know, when I was your age, we were using rulers to measure all kinds of things.
In your book, The Autistic Brain, Thinking Across the Spectrum, you explore the concept of visual circuitry in the brain. Can you explain how this concept relates to autism and how it has impacted your own experiences and work?
Did you write those questions? Those sound very grown up. I think a teacher wrote those questions. I don't think a kid wrote those questions. I really don't think so. That's kind of stuff that teachers ask. Well, one thing I talked about in the visual thinking book and also the autistic brain is different ways that people think. I'm an extreme object visualizer. So everything I think about is a picture. It's a picture. Okay, I was talking about airports to understand big amounts of money. Well, I see the different airports as I discuss them. You see, it's not abstract. Then you have your mathematical mind. Think patterns. They think in patterns, music, patterns. That's your math thinker. They don't think in pictures, patterns. Then you have your word thinkers. And then you've got people that are combinations of the different kinds of thinking. But when I was working on building equipment for the cattle handling, I worked with some people that owned metalworking shops. They were autistic, and they had a whole lot of patents for original mechanical devices that they had invented. Yeah, you need to be getting real shop classes in this school. That's what you need to be doing. And you should be learning how to do woodworking. I was doing woodworking at your age.
Alrighty. Thank you for answering my questions.
You're welcome. And where did you get those questions from? Fess up to me now.
We had to put them together really fast.
It doesn't sound like questions that a kid would ask. Yeah, it sounds like grown-up questions.
Grown-up audience. So thank you. Sorry.
Okay, I just had to take you up on that then.
Of course.
Wait a minute. Now, where do these questions come from?
Yeah.
Awesome. And you're free to ask Sasha questions.
You want
too,
to
if
ask
like.
me a question? Why don't you ask
Vice
me a
versa.
question that's a Sasha question, not a question that an adult wrote for you?
Anyone
I
know?
don't know.
That's okay.
I don't know.
No problem.
What's the best Christmas gift you've ever received?
Yes, I agree.
Oh, I got a set of really cool skis when I was in high school.
I love
That was one of the best Christmas gifts.
Can
I
I ask
love
one?
skiing.
What are you, of all your accomplishments, most proud of?
Well, when I first started out in my 20s, I was really motivated to design the project shown in the HBO movie to prove I wasn't stupid. But one of the mistakes I made, and a lot of young engineering people make this mistake, is that you can solve all the problems with equipment. I thought I could build a self-managing cattle handling facility. No, you can't. Good equipment makes good handling easier, but you've got to have people operating it correctly, doing things correctly. And the thing that probably made the biggest change in the welfare was a very simple scoring tool I developed for evaluating meatpacking plants. And I taught McDonald's, Wendy's, and Burger King how to use it. Very simple, like you had more than 3 cattle mooing in the, when they're being handled, you'd fail audit over that. Because when they were mooing during handling, you were doing something bad to them, like slamming gates on them, for example. Absolutely not okay to do. And I taught all 3 companies how to use that system. We did that in 1999, and we went through all the big plants, just about all of them, and I saw more change. And in most cases, they didn't have to rebuild the place. They had to repair a lot of equipment, including equipment I already had out there. They had to manage equipment, repair stuff. And out of 74 suppliers, only 3 had to build expensive things. The rest, it was non-slip flooring repairs, and 3 plant managers got replaced. Making them manage the stuff they already had.
Nice.
Could I ask you a question? Temple, you talk a lot about hands-on learning and wood shops and measuring and all things that used to happen in schools now. What are your thoughts on technology and smartphones and the progression of technology in relation to some of the things you talked about?
Well, the thing is, AI is going to take over a lot of jobs. I'll tell you the jobs artificial intelligence is not going to take over. And that's things like fixing cars, keeping water pumps working. You like to have, I'm in a hotel on the 15th floor. I'd like to have water on the 15th floor. There's pumps that get the water up there. Somebody's going to have to take care of that stuff. Somebody has to build that stuff. Those jobs are safe from artificial intelligence. And we're going to need the visual thinkers that are not very good at higher math to keep the infrastructure going, keep the power on.
Any other questions?
I can see quite a few computer programming jobs, the low-level ones, going out to AI.
Yeah. Well, we're thrilled that you're here with us.
But I worked with a lot of people. I spent 25 years in heavy construction working on Cargill plants. And 20% of the people I worked with that were building equipment for me were either autistic, dyslexic, or ADHD, undiagnosed. And they'd often taken a single welding class, or they'd grown up working on cars. That was the background of those people. And they owned big shops. And now we have issues about, we can't have special ed kids take shop because of insurance or something. Well, in my generation, the special ed kids owned the shops. And they had a whole bunch of patents for original equipment that they invented.
Thank you very much for tuning into Briarwood Kids Ask. I want to thank our special guests, Sasha and Temple Grandin. We'll see you next time at the Briarwood School. Bye.